Welcome to another episode of Chima's Bushwalking. Clearly, I'm not bushwalking. I am sitting in the backyard. So I've listened to a few of you who said, actually, while the bushwalk's cool, I actually want to see pictures of your backyard because I know you do some gardening. So here we are here. I'm going to do a couple of episodes filming in the backyard, and I'll take you through some of the work that we've done and how we've got to get to this stage. Many years ago, I used to be a ground gardener, so it meant getting the shovel and just digging big long lines in the ground, turning it over, planting lots of veggies, and I didn't think too much more about the birds or the pollinators or soil health. It was just about trying to grow some veggies in the ground. However, the older I've got, and after buying a house ourselves, I decided, and looking around, there's actually some better ways that suit me as a gardener more, and that's raised beds. So I'll take you through my 5 top tips for raised bed farming. So my number 1 tip is to source some containers. I like to use the IBCs, but make sure they are have had some sort of food grade quality in them. They've had water or they've had molasses or some sort of food grade. You really don't want to be growing food in this case, a IBC container in something that's previously had, oil or fuel or something toxic in it. So make sure you source your IBC containers from somewhere reputable that you know what was in it before. Tip number 1. Tip number 2, when you cut your IBCs, you're going to have these really sharp edges, and they're not going to be too nice on your hands as you lean on them like I am right now. It'd be a good idea if you put some sort of structure around them like I have to make sure that you can lean, place a coffee cup, or in the afternoon maybe even a cheeky bottle of wine onto here and leaning over, doing your gardening, doing your weeding. In this bed here, I've got some garlic. Garlic don't like competition. I like garlic. They hate weeds. So this is the best way to do the weeding. Tip number 3, be as cheap as possible. I like to call myself the tight-ass gardener. It's not because I've got some nice set of glutes. It's because I don't like to spend money. And these here, they've been, these were pallets that have been thrown out, but when you're using pallets that you find from people's verges or an industrial area that clearly look like they're going out, look for the HT symbol, because that means heat treated. So it means that you can cut them to size, drill them without fear they've got any sort of major toxins in them. They've been heat treated to prevent any insect damage, rot, those sorts of things. But here, I've upcycled them. They've cost me nothing, and they look magnificent around these IBCs. Tip number 4. Make sure when you're lining your IBCs, when you're making them, and I'll put some stills in here, is that you put this weed mat all the way up to the edges, like we have here. This one here basically prevents the soil from going through into your aggregate that you've got on the bottom, stops it all from mixing around and allows that water to be sucked up from the bottom reservoir into the top area. So keep it all separated. You're going to keep them separated between the aggregate and the soil. This one here, I haven't pulled this mat right up, but yeah, that's a mistake that I made in making these. So weed mat right up around the sides. And tip number 5 is you've always got to keep the soil topped up. The soil will over time compress down from all the organic matter and from the plants utilising it and from the worms that are in here. If but you've got to keep topping the soil up. But top it up with high quality compost and garden soil, and your veggies will be looking absolutely stunning and bouncing out of the ground. So there you have it. There's my 5 top tips on IBCs or raised beds in the garden. If you've got any queries, happy to answer a few more. I can go through the construction in a later video. I can go through the composting. I can go through the chooks over there and everything, how the whole thing works. But I just keep it simple. 5 top tips, raised bed gardening, get into it. Weather's spectacular. And I look forward to catching you in a next video. So feel free to like, comment and subscribe. Give me some tips if you've got some gardening questions. I'll tell you what I know, or I will just lie.